Ja, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, ich möchte Sie ganz herzlich begrüßen zur Ladies and Gentlemen. I would like to welcome you very much to this last event in connection with Mathematic Reloaded, our special exhibition that will finish today. And I would like to start immediately and introduce Piper Marshall, Vice President for Press Relations for Global Village Idiot. Thank you.
Greetings, good evening, and welcome to the Muséum Tinguely. My name is Piper Marshall, and I'm the Vice President of Media Relations of Global Village Idiot, the creator of the web, the revolutionary new product we're launching here tonight. But why here? Why come all the way across an ocean and multiple time zones just to announce a product that is by its very nature globally and perpetually accessible? Why come to a museum for that matter? And not just to a museum, but to an art museum. Why this art museum? Why not the Louvre or the Guggenheim? Why not the Louvre Abu Dhabi or the Guggenheim Abu Dhabi? The truth is, only one venue, only one museum fit our criteria. The only museum in the world dedicated to the art of Jean Tinguely. Tinguely, born in Switzerland in 1925, is best known for what he called metamatics, mechanical sculptural hulks he assembled out of the scrap metal of the Industrial Revolution and powered with motors. Their hands, robotic extensions of Tinguely's own, could generate paintings and drawings, reproduce them endlessly, even vary them automatically according to pre-programmed parameters. The metamatics are machines that combine the functions of both artwork and artist. They are products that are also processes, creator commodities, avant-garde efficiency initiatives. Tinguely figured out how technology could not only mimic, but perfect art and make it scalable to meet market demand, an epic win avant la lettre. Unlike actual human artists, the metamatics didn't have to rely on inspiration or emotion. They didn't have to worry about the prospect of irreversible death from chain smoking or alcoholism. They weren't plagued by out-of-control male egos or social anxiety disorder. Their ambitions could never be frustrated. They could never fail. Sure, there was always the risk of mechanical failure, but to Tinguely, failure was a revelation, the sole moment when the machine expresses its subjectivity. Afterward, the machine is forever an object, just a pile of parts. Tinguely imagined a future in which machines maintain and service themselves. Machines theorize and practice any and all avant-gardes and retro-avant-gardes, and humans are charged only with exercising judgment, clicking on icons, adding to our carts, and sharing the products of the machines with our friends. Unfortunately, Tinguely died in 1991. Global Village Idiot continues to innovate what Tinguely called his free machines, working not with gears or wheels, but with an iterative algorithm. We've applied Tinguely's genius, his penchant for creative disruption, and developed an app that redraws and will soon erase the boundaries between art and life, creator and commodity. The web was released in beta to a number of key demographics and needy populations by invitation last spring. Tonight, we're warp driving the web to general availability 1.0. And joining us remotely from their offices in San Jose are Alexander Provin and Joshua Cohen, the co-principals of DAS Capital, our investment team. Let's give them a call. Hey, boys. So cute. I'm also pleased to announce that later tonight you'll be granted a rare audience with the founder and prime architect of the web, the Global Village idiot himself. I thank you for your attention and now turn the proceedings over to the Global Village Idiot's Chief Technology Officer, Neil Bledstone. Thank you.
We are going to make history tonight. Now, before we begin, I want to thank our users, all of you, for recognizing that we address the problems of tomorrow not with today's tools, but with the tools of tomorrow. So thank you. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Now, before we make history, we must know history so that we can know the future that we are programmed to make. I'm here to tell you all that my name is Neil Bledstone, the Chief Technological Officer of the Global Village Idiot, the maker of the web, the app that we are about to take off the freaking leash. History. Not many people know this, but the Global Village Idiot is of old Eskimo stock. You'll soon meet him. He comes from a long, long line of holy men, shamans, sacred healers, polar bear fur-clad, salmon-slapping, bird mask-making, dance-around-the-fire motherfuckers. And when I first came to work for the GVI, and this is just as he was conceiving the web, he sat me down and he said, Neil, well, he didn't say it so much because he never says anything. He just, beamed it to me. Neil, do you know how to start a $100 billion company? You solve a $100 billion problem. And then he kicked back and got all trance-like and started to channel some wisdom, the old tales, the oldest, beyond paleo. What he transmitted to me, I'm going to transmit to you. This is a story that his father told him and his grandfather before him, and so on through the generations. Think paleo. Think land bridge. Believe it or not, Neil, all the world used to be a single land, a singularity. And this land was called Pangaea. And its inhabitants were a single people who possessed what we might think of as a single mind, meaning there were no differences among them. There was no them at all. All was feedback. Species and habitat were as organism and God. Their language was a natural language. Their things were people, and their people were things. And then what happened next was that everything started to splinter, and go drifty. The people, things were sundered, and everything just fell apart. Now, let's say on one side of this divide were the content folk, and on the other side of the divide were the form folk, and each folk began, and this took generations to use different tools, to hunt and skin their wild game differently, to invoke the spirit realm differently, and I don't know, to take different amounts of seal milk in their lattes. These people retreated into their caves and tried to express themselves in pictures that were also words, and words that were also pictures, ideograms, ideographs, glyphs, all manner of woeful interface. And each folk's efforts would have been incoherent to the other folk. That is, if they'd ever been able to meet again. But you know how that goes, Charlie Darwin. This was the beginning of the end for Homo aestheticus. Art and life were now divided. That fabled world of the unified experience became increasingly distant, irreparably pluralistic. We humans developed increasingly, exponentially complex systems of representation to summon it all back. But all of our cave paintings and statuary and vernacular expressions, they just seem to cancel each other out. This, Eskimos, is a fundamental irony. Art mediates, it beautifies, or at least it gets in the way. It provokes, reveals, exposes. And it does all this, or it can do all this, to provide us with what feels like a more authentic experience, a more genuine life. Art mediates to conjure up a form of being that would not otherwise exist, that is our only substitute for, or if you're a dick, simulacrum of all that mystical, immemorial oneness. Indeed, Miss Marshall tells me that 62% of Museum Tingley's audience has vaped this e-juice before. Back to history, restart. Ever since this ancient cataclysm, art has been trying to return to life, and life has been trying to return to art, and yet no synthesis has ever been achieved. We humans, trapped in the middle, playing sentience against posterity and posterity against sentience, we have lost. We have failed. Time and again, we've fucked it all up. Now, what about the golden calf, which established a conduit between the worshipers and the divine? Failure. What about the crucifixion, which scaled man into a deity? Oh, epic fail. What about the alchemists who transmuted the elements and turned clay into life? No diggity. What about the golden mean and the chambered nautilus, which made actionable the measure of nature? It's a cool story, bro. Vitruvian man and the torso of Apollo, which allowed us to aestheticize our ideal proportions. In the course of human history, all attempts to bridge, to connect, to hyperlink, to turn art into life and life into art have fallen short. Until now. What was missing was the data. What was missing was the information. Because every ice age or so, a product comes along that blows everything else out of the H2O, species-level change enacted by an elite cadre of creative technologists, my Eskimos. Now, please understand me. We here at Global Village Idiot know that art is immeasurable. Life, too, is immeasurable. They are both qualitative. But the relationships between them, the relationships among them, they can be numbered. They can be sequenced and chunked. They can be smoothed. At Global Village Idiot, we have spent the last 3 years quantifying these relationships and drilling them down to a pseudo-science. We successfully synthesized the information overload-induced depression of the global village with the blissful ignorance and savant antics of the village idiot. And of course, these ever-changing, utterly contingent relationships are a moving target. But Global Village Idiot's algorithm provides for change, captures contingencies, and this is the miracle of the web, surpasses them. So what we have here is the autogenic sensorium, the organon Perel, optimized for everything, everywhen, and everywhere. Now, we first got to yes on the 1st of February, nearly 1 year ago. I've been compiling a compiler for source check and code binging for 36 hours straight. So I'd earned my sleep on that futon, and I was awoken by a touch of the temple. It was GVI himself. He didn't have to speak. You were speaking for us. You are speaking for us now. The web, my hairless Eskimos, the web. To format as plain text an app that is not an app, a way of expressing that is also a way of being expressed, mode and modality both. It is counter-revolutionary and user-friendly, the very definition of intuitive. Your monitors will become as obsolete as granite obelisks, papyri, waxen tablets, and dry erase boards. It takes those gestures that you already use on your touchscreens, those slavish tactuals and haptic routines, and projects them into meat space. The web frees you to flick forward, pinch to close, slide to unlock, snap to grid, to rubber band reality, to pinch and zoom the world. Several months ago, with the web still swamped in beta and so bugged up that it was basically malarial, I was piloting Global Village Idiot's One Web Per Child initiative, and I want to say it was in Rwanda. No, wait, I believe it was in Lugano. Anyway, it was a nightmare. A week without electricity, and I spent all my time strolling the mud-caked streets, being asked the same question over and over and over again by so many child victims of crippling info-famine, those puffy stomachs and those oozing sores. The minute I got home, I knew that I had to come up with this handy list of FAQs. So, question: how do you access the web? Dude, weren't you born? How do you use the web? Don't change a thing. Okay, well, how is the web different from what I'm doing now? Do. Be. Do. Be. Do, be, do, be, do. Well, how do I get off the web? When you're ready. When you're ready. Now, not to get too technical, but typically ease of use conceals the incredible arresting complexity. Deep substrate, complicated silicates, but simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking simple so it can be clean, but it's worth it in the end, because once you get there, you can move mountains. With the web, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Not only that, WHIZWIG. What you hear is what you get. WHIWIG. What you are is what you get. The web constantly and continuously apprehends all spatiotemporal biostats. All the junk you see and hear and do, inhale, exhume on your way to the corner store to get some coconut water, and seamlessly integrates them with the information on any and all of your personal devices and the information in the cloud. That's what you've been seeing here. Images shot right here in Museum Tingley by users like yourselves who downloaded the app, along with all the personal information that we've gotten from the app, along with your favorite and least favorite contacts. Yelp reviews, vacation photos, tweets, Lulu cookies, Weibo taps, and emoji pings. The result is a 360-degree, totally iterative experience of experience, 24/7, with no mediation. Finally, the algorithm without the interface. We frame the world, and then we burn the frame. We embody the stream. We manifest the so-lo-mo, and all is light. We imbibe the light. We chug the light. 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 The history of art is a history of disruption, failed disruption. The history of life is a history of failure. If art were a startup, it'd be bankrupt by now. If life were a startup, it'd be worth something, but would each only have a single share. The web, however, increases your value, and it does all this by not just giving you more, but more intensely felt equity in yourself, by combining your shares with other users' shares, keeping them all in a perpetual flux, bundling the riders and enhancing the whole. Every interaction is a pivot, and the process is recursive and reversible. And every transmission is not just an interaction, but an intra-reaction, maximizing the market that is you. Bottom up, top down, and around again. You know what? I now pronounce you all the mayors of motion, so help you God. Primitive social networking has been static, fixed, closed. The web is kinetic, transitive, open. The web is your portal to open. It takes you from social networking to social inhabitation. So you're not just messaging someone about the John Kessler show at Museum Tingley. You are yourself and that person. You are Museum Tingley. You are the installation, and so not entitled to any profits, revenues, or data, or whether indirect, special, consequential, or exemplary. Check the TOS. With the web, MySpace is your space. Facebook is body book. 4 square is 4 cubed. Think of it as 4D printing. Printing in time. Imprinting. I'm printing. And you know what that means? We're going off screen. And no interface means no surface. And no surface means all depth. I'm going to level with you. I've said a lot of things today, and I've made a lot of promises. I've given you the idea of the web as a totalizing force, a hegemonic entity that scales and spans and encompasses. But for every feature and function of the web, there's still a few things that, well, how should I put it, remain incompatible, incapable. I'm speaking, my depilated Eskimos, of politics, the most virulent species of malware that has ever infected the human system. Now, the web actually takes the human system out of beta by purging its bugs, dry roasting them, seasoning them with chopsticks, evaporating the blood from their carcasses, and freezing their exoskeletons in amber. And only once we eradicate the parasite of politics can we humans refresh and flourish, devote ourselves to the eternal game. Pure play in the wasteland, open-ended choice upon open-ended choice. And this is the essence of the Life Art Reunion. An Eskimo carves stone with stone. And with his tool, he can both kill a caribou and grant it immortality upon a wall of rock. Today, Eskimos, I present your tool. Currently searching total audience metadata. Currently searching total audience metadata. 120 gigabytes, 680 gigabytes. Searching all file formats, extensions, DOC, TXT, JPEG, MPEG, XLS, HTML, executable, comprise, archive, configs, depth, breadth, traverse, taboo, 218 terabytes, 880. The 2 restaurants you were considering dining at this evening have no tables available for 5:30. Might we suggest Aqua, Benningerstrasse 14, fusion Italian in a delightful post-industrial setting. She recommends the pumpkin risotto. Brute force concentrate propagation, 1.2 billion documents searched, 38%, 40%, stochastic optimization, void sit, bit uchar, byte uchar, bit bool, vx, byte equals bit sit on byte, bit. That double-breasted herringbone tweed you were considering buying is now on sale for 200 francs, only at Paul Kell, Gerbergas 40. Also, your partner has been sleeping with Mr. Christoph Egger, currently seated 8 rows behind you. Void set bit you took. Void set bit you chop. Can't return get bit on bike. You stand to lose up to 22% of your net worth with the crash of the Bangkok commercial real estate market, given a 44% chance of tsunami and 68% popular support of Thai regime change in February. Minimize your exposure by reinvesting in Palestinian renewables, solar and geothermal. Bool, get bit, const, return, get bit, all integer operator, const. our child would have a statistically insignificant chance of developing heart disease and childhood leukemia, and an extremely strong propensity for being Caucasian. I'm staying in the Napoleon suite at the Dry Konig. You should stop by later.